Oh, hi. Yeah, you've got to be really upbeat at the start or people turn off, don't they? 10%, 20%, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80% of them are gone. Get out of here. Sometimes I look at that metric where it goes, ooh, like that, ooh, where people like get out in 5 seconds, like, and I'm like, I hope they get electrocuted. Like when they're clicking out, like their mouse goes wrong and it really hurts them. Because yeah, it's so unbelievably rude. What am I meant to do? Like have sirens going off, you know, or have like cats fighting or something like that? Is that what you need to stay? I don't know. I'm not having a go at you because you're still here. Right. It was Christmas recently when we filmed this. Now it is grim January with nothing to recommend it. When it was Christmas, I was looking at high quality gifts for very loved ones and sauntered past the board game section of a local department store. Therein, laying upon the table, was James Bond bingo. I repeat, James Bond bingo. Obviously, I'd never buy that for someone, but it got me thinking about an amusing scene where instead of playing poker, the British super spy played bingo with the government's money. Basically, the plot of Casino Royale, but with bingo and not poker. This was written as an example of light-hearted comedic writing. It isn't very funny, but it is quite funny. And that is better than most writers who try to be very funny ever manage. Discuss gifting. Yeah, so this is a slightly silly thing to discuss, but what happens is I get phone calls from people that I'm paying, and they say to me, you should talk about these things in your videos. You should talk about these things in your videos and those things, and they're doing that because I'm paying them and they have to come up with stuff. Now they come up with mostly bad stuff, but I keep paying them in the hope that one day that changes. So they said, why don't we discuss gifting? And I'm like, I'll give 3 minutes to that. So, what do you think are some terrible gifts that you would not give to people, such as James Bond bingo?
Those reveal pillows.
What are they?
You know, like you get a pillow that is one way when you stroke it and it's all one colour, and then it reveals to be... And I've got a Danny DeVito one. That I don't know why I've got
Danny
it.
DeVito.
What does he turn into?
It's just a black pillow, and then you stroke it that way, and Danny DeVito's face appears.
That's quite alarming.
What is he doing? What from? I mean, is
just
it
just smiling with his glasses on.
what sort of age is he?
I'd say he's probably in his 50s.
Okay.
I think he's in his 50s now. I hope he is.
Danny DeVito?
Yeah.
Danny DeVito's probably 80.
80?
Really?
He must be. He must be. Do you remember?
Going quite well.
Do you remember Taxi?
Oh yeah, I suppose. Yeah. Of course, he must be.
Copyright.
Yeah, that's true.
Watch out.
Right, so that came out. That was on when I was born, and he was not young in that.
You remember that being born, with that being on?
I remember repeats of it.
Oh.
I don't know. My memory, actually, my long-term memory has been remarked upon, but my short-term memory hasn't been remarked upon.
Or you don't remember it anyways.
Yeah, I might not remember if people remarked
recently.
upon it. Yeah, it's true. Maybe I'll remember if they did remark on my short-term memory later.
Yeah.
Because the further it gets away, the stronger it gets.
Yeah.
Right.
So Taxi's like 40 years ago. What year is it? It's 2023. 1980. Taxi was probably finishing 40 years ago. I don't know. Somebody check. Maybe write in the comments how old Danny DeVito is in January 2023. Because if you're from the future, it'll be different. Or you might be, oh, Danny DeVito died 10 years ago. Like, I don't mean then, I mean now. All right?
A bit of maths.
Yeah, well, that's... you were given that? Or
I was given that as a birthday present, yeah.
But that's like a ha, you know, oh, he loves Danny DeVito.
It was the only birthday present that person gave me.
What was their? Do you know what their thinking was behind it?
You're very hard to buy for, so I got you this.
Danny DeVito.
A Danny DeVito pillow.
One of my friends, when he was about 16, by his aunt, was given a Kevin Costner calendar. Isn't gay, wasn't gay. Bodyguard era.
But does he like Kevin
He
Costner?
never mentioned him.
So random.
He's adamant. I never spoke to her at any stage about Kevin
It
Costner.
was some kind of hint.
Maybe he was given vibes that.
Maybe he was singing. But again, don't sing. But then you'd be more likely to get a Whitney Houston calendar, surely.
Yeah.
I would have thought.
Maybe
If
he
you're
was
a
swimming a lot,
16-year-old boy.
Like Waterworld sort of vibes.
Yeah, I never saw it because I think he mentioned it, but then threw it in the bin maybe. He certainly didn't use it for 1995. In this scene, we are close to the final round, the winner of which will win all of the money and bankrupt the others, namely Blofeld, who wasn't in Casino Royale, another example of changes I've made, and his Spectre organisation. We are between the penultimate and final hands. Choose roles. Okay, so we've actually got like a few people are going to have to double up here. One of the things I don't like is like people talking to themselves. Do you know what I mean? So
Right.
like, oh, what do you think about that? I think it's great. We need to try and avoid that. Now, James Bond is in the whole scene, so somebody needs to take James Bond and just be James Bond, and everyone else has really got to kind of circulate. Yeah? So who wants to be James Bond? If a girl wants to do it, this is probably the only time she'll ever get to do it.
I'll do Bond.
James Bond. You want to do Sean Connery style?
Ooh. I might go Pierce Brosnan.
Pierce Brosnan.
Yeah.
Oh.
Also good.
Faintly Irish. Just a hint.
Just a touch.
Faintly. James Bond. That's the Sean Connery one,
That's pretty good, though.
obviously.
Yeah.
Now, we have Barman, but he's only got one line. Felix Leiter. Now he's in there quite a bit. He's American. I am an American. Yeah. So Felix Leiter. Anybody fancy taking him? He's a CIA agent. Pal of James. Yeah.
Do you want to go?
I don't really want to
Unless
be
you wanna
another. I
stay
kind of
away
want to
from
be
the
a
Americans?
non-American.
I'll go for Felix then.
Okay. So we've got James. We've got Felix.
I'll butcher your accent.
No, you did so good the other time.
Oh, thank you.
Nobody knows about that because it's another day.
In the past.
Vesper. Who is going to play Vesper?
I can try and play a Vesper. Unless you want to be Vesper.
Vesper. So we've sorted that out. I will be the barman, and I will be the dealer because they've got one line each. I will probably be. No, you're being Felix. If you're Blofeld as well, because they never talk directly. Felix and Blofeld, and I will be all the sort of ancillary roles. Yeah? Because I'm generous like that. So, barman, dealer, caller. I'll do the dealer and caller differently so that people know that it's not like it's a different person. There's a lot of people in this scene. I think that covers it. I actually think that covers it. So I'm taking 3. Carry the burden. And you've got 2 and you've got 1 each. So that's easy to remember. Are we happy?
Yeah.
Good, because that's all I've ever wanted. Now, internal, exclusive casino, late. James is joined by Felix at the bar. Would you care for a mint, sir?
No, thank you. I expect to be driving later.
Bond, you're playing well. I don't think I can continue.
Felix, why? This will be the final round.
I'm just not getting the numbers. The cards I've had, they don't match the calls.
But that's bingo, Felix. Don't give up now.
I'm just not the player you are, James. The United States government will back your effort with our chips.
I'm not sure that's legal.
Everyone has agreed,
Even Blofeld?
especially Blofeld. He expects to win and wants to take as much as he can directly from you. Good luck, James.
Vesper approaches James as Felix leaves.
You'd better win this round, James, or the Western democracies will be bankrupt.
No change there then.
James moves to the table and takes his seat. The dealer hands out the cards. Vesper looks over his shoulder and whispers in his ear.
2 fat ladies, James. They've not appeared yet. Get a card with them on.
Yes, very good. Perhaps they'll sing for me.
If they do, I'll join them.
In my suite?
Don't be vulgar, Mr. Bond.
James gestures for a different card. The dealer obliges. Cards are dealt, gentlemen. This will be the final round, winner takes all. I shall leave it to our caller to direct you.
Now, Mr. Bond, we shall see who really takes the house for real.
Don't get too excited, Blofeld. You know it will only make you more disappointed when you lose.
I underestimated you, Mr. Bond. Your bingo skills are of the highest standard. Well, almost the highest.
Eyes down. 2 little ducks. 22. 1 and 3. 13. 5 and 6. 56. 4 and 1. 41. 7 on its own. 7. The tension rises as the main characters appear to be doing better than the ancillary characters. Legs 11. 11. 3 and 6. 36. 9 and 3. 93. 2 fat ladies. 88.
Bingo!
Mr. Bond and the British government are the winners.
Very good, Mr. Bond. The slim element of the chance have saved you this time, but Spectre will return.
Minus 400 billion guineas, of course.
Blofeld bows and leaves. The remainder of the table congratulate James.
Well done, James. I knew you could pull it off. Now, about my cut.
Don't worry, Felix. We always pay our debts. The Americans should know that better than anyone.
You couldn't have done it without me.
I was just going to say the same thing. Now, where will your singing recital be taking place?
My suite. 5 minutes.
Make it 4.
Vesper leaves. Felix's mood darkens.
I don't think Blofeld is going to take that lying down.
Certainly, but he can wait until I've helped a young lady with her vocal cords. Good night, Felix.
Good night, 007.
Yeah. So that's the end of that. Look, it's light comedy. Yeah. So it's just a kind of that kind of level. So we're not going in really hard. You know, nobody's getting hit with fish or and other funny things like that. That's not happening in this. But it's kind of, it's kind of amusing. He's on top of things. You know, he's good at bingo, which is in itself very interesting. Good at any game really. He's very good at games. Spy games can be. If we did it again, should we do a switcheroo?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I think I should be James Bond.
Yeah.
Right? Because I didn't really have a lot to do there. I think I did it well.
You did it really well.
But I think there's a few places I'd like to. I don't want to be like bang on Sean Connery, but like a bit like him. Can't really. I could do Roger Moore. Roger Moore. Oh really? Oh really? Yeah, I could do that. So as you've heard, but I might go down the Sean Connery route because I'm not exactly like Sean Connery, but a bit like him.
He's everyone's favourite.
A lot of people's
Everyone
favourite.
goes
Yeah.
for Sean.
I think you've got to have been like a kid in the 70s to prefer Roger Moore, maybe. Or like the late 70s. If you're a kid in the late 70s, some of those people, they're about 50 now, and they go, oh, I prefer Roger Moore. But other than them, people either side of them would generally say Sean Connery.
What do you
If they're
think
paying
about
attention.
Daniel Craig?
I think he's done a fine job. Well done, Daniel. But he doesn't have the distance. You need that distance, I would say, to really take that on. People kind of go, oh, he's been as good as they were. And in a practical and real sense, that may be true, but nostalgia is very powerful. Casino Royale, which this is loosely based on, was quite a long time ago now. So he's probably getting the benefit of that distance. But I think until someone else plays the role, he's still too fresh in the mind,
Right.
And I think Pierce Brosnan was good, but I think a lot of the scripts were like quite stupid.
I couldn't tell you the plot of many James Bond films. Just there's a danger James Bond arrives, there is no longer a danger.
That's the plot of most films. I mean, not without a James Bond bit. James Bond isn't in most films. But, okay, so I'm being James Bond this time, which means somebody needs to take on all the nasty characters. They're not nasty, they're just sort of ancillary, they're just sort of peripheral, right? Barman, dealer, caller, and do them differently.
I could be them.
Yes. Okay.
Unless someone else wants to be them.
Nobody wants that job.
I like that. I like playing different characters.
I've done it.
It wasn't. You don't recommend it. Now that you've done it.
Well, I'm not doing it again.
I'll take it on.
Right, are you happy where you were?
I'm happy unless you want to have a go
Unless
at
you want to
some
play
Felixes
Vesper.
instead.
Oh.
I could seduce a Bond, I think.
Not
I kind
sure.
of want to see that.
I'm not sure.
I feel like the benevolent, benign dictator might be coming.
I think I can seduce a Timothy Dalton. I don't know if I can seduce a Sean Connery.
Sean Connery.
I'll take Vesper.
All right. Now, this is there's a lot of money at stake. I mean, 400 billion guineas. Yeah. Wow. I wanted that to be like, now this is a meaningful amount of money because it was a bit, you know, Dr. Evil did the joke and everything about $1 million. But even when you do these movies and they talk about like governmental cash, it's like inconvenient money. 400 billion guineas is a problem for almost everywhere.
How much is a guinea?
It's a bit more than £1.
Oh, okay. I was thinking like pesos or like.
No.
Okay.
No. So if it was dollars, probably $650 million, billion dollars.
Wow.
It's a problem. I mean, you wouldn't want to lose that.
Right.
It's almost as much as like Jeff Bezos has, probably.
Yeah.
Right.
About
Probably
that.
worth
That
more
would-
now as well.
That would
Guineas.
bring down Amazon.
Right.
You could buy them out.
Definitely.
You could buy whoever wins this could buy Amazon, like the whole thing. Could you imagine that?
James
Yeah.
Bond.
Why wouldn't they?
That is a kind of world domination.
But it's government money. It's not. So he wins it, but he doesn't keep it.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
not like the richest man in the world.
Do you reckon he gets a cut or anything? Because he's obviously putting a lot of work in to win that money.
Bingo's tough.
I mean, I think he's paid well for his job.
I think he's probably in a situation where he doesn't really need to worry about money.
Right.
As long as he doesn't do something outlandish, like buys a Ferrari every day, there'll be like an account that deals with all of his problems.
Yeah.
So he won't actually I need to pay the rent this month. He probably won't have. I mean, he'll probably have like a nominal bank account somewhere, but as long as he's working for them, he'll have like an expense account that doesn't really have a limit, within reason.
Right.
Yeah, you know, if he spends crazy money, they'll go, Commander Bond, too much money, you know. That might be how they'd say it. Internal exclusive casino late. James is joined by Felix at the bar.
Would you care for a mint, sir?
No, thank you. I expect to be driving later.
Bond, you're playing well. I don't think I can continue.
Felix, why? This will be the final round.
I'm just not getting the numbers. The cards I've had, they don't match the calls.
But that's bingo, Felix. Don't give up now.
I'm just not the player you are, James. The United States government will back your effort with our chips.
I'm not sure that's legal.
Everyone has agreed,
Even Blofeld?
especially Blofeld. He expects to win and wants to take as much money as he can directly from you. Good luck, James.
Vesper approaches James as Felix leaves.
You had better win this round, James, or the Western democracies will be bankrupt.
No change there, then. James moves to the table and takes his seat. The dealer hands out the cards. Vesper looks over his shoulder and whispers in his ear.
2 fat ladies, James. They've not appeared yet. Get the cards with them on.
Yes, very good. Perhaps they'll sing for me.
If they do, I'll join them.
In my suite.
Don't be vulgar, Mr. Bond.
James gestures for a different card. The dealer obliges.
Cards are dealt, gentlemen.
This will be the final round, winner takes all. I should leave it to our caller to direct you.
Now, Mr. Bond, we shall see who really takes the house for real.
Don't get too excited, Blofeld. You know it'll only make you more disappointed when you lose.
I underestimated you, Mr. Bond. Your bingo skills are of the highest standard. Well, almost the highest.
Eyes down. 2 little ducks, 22. 1 and 3, 13. 5 and 6, 56. 4 and 1, 41. 7 on its own, 7.
The tension rises as the main characters appear to be doing better than the ancillary characters.
Legs 11, 11. 3 and 6, 36. 9 and 3, 93. 2 fat ladies, 88.
Bingo!
Mr. Bond and the British government are the winners.
Very good, Mr. Bond. The slim element of chance saved you this time, but Spectre will return.
Minus 400 billion guineas, of course. Blofeld bows and leaves. The remainder of the table congratulate James.
Well done, James. I knew you'd pull it off. Now about my cut.
Don't worry, Felix. We always pay our debts. The Americans should know that better than anyone.
You couldn't have done it without me.
I was just going to say the same thing. Now, where will your singing recital be taking place?
My suite. 5 minutes?
Make it 4. Vesper leaves. Felix's mood darkens.
I don't think Blofeld is going to take that lying down.
Certainly. But he can wait until I've helped a young lady with her vocal cords. Good night, Felix.
Good night, 007.
Yeah. See, it's the confidence. It's the self-assuredness. Almost every line in there, and again, like we said, it was light comedy. Everything he says is actually like a joke. Like he doesn't take the whole thing. He just isn't taking that seriously. He's like, I expect to win the bingo. I'm sure the numbers will work out. I kind of feel that he has all the way through it. And you could say that it's sort of bad for tension because he's like just so certain that he's going to be fine. But I replaced that problem by just having the caller carefully, and you're like, oh, when's someone going to say bingo?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because most people, when they write that scene, they'd use a lot of like cutaway shots to kind of shorten how long a bingo game is, whereas we here have played a whole bingo game, you know, and that is unusual. You don't see that.
When you say a whole bingo game, is that like to make sure that each number is called out? Are you assuming that every number he's called out, Bond is dobbed off?
He's got an excellent card, remember, because Vesper said get one with the 88, and it also had, you know, the 7, and it had. He's probably only missed like 1 there. You know, it's a really kind of fine line to tread, because you can make the scene entirely the bingo game, where, you know, they sit down. You've done the bit where they sit down, and the bingo's like 4 minutes, and then it's bingo. It's difficult. It's like pacing. You want the tension. You don't want it to be so short that it's stupid, and just kind of make it up with like shots where you've got like your eyes, you know, somebody sweat, 400 billion guineas is a lot on this. And you do it with music. It's cop out, you know.
You're telling people how to feel about it instead of naturally building the game.
Exactly.
They feel like they're part of it.
They're like, oh, he's using his pen a lot. Must be going well for him. Blofeld is probably, until the fat ladies, they're probably neck and neck.
Yeah.
Because like we said, all the other like governments that kind of hanging on are just like, oh no, because they don't have lines. So pretty, you know, I think what we've done there is demonstrated an ability to play the role and write scenes for a popular character should the need arise for a highly paid writer for like the next film, or maybe the one after, because I think it's going to be a busy couple of years for me now, but maybe if somebody can call me about 2026, because I don't have much in the diary for 2026 at the moment, because it's still a bit of time. So if you watched this and you said, oh my God, if only Casino could take away the bingo bit, but you're like, oh, the patter is so on the money. He's so on the money. We've got to have him write James Bond in the future. Then we'll talk about it, but probably not the next one, so I'm a bit busy. If you are watching this and you bought somebody James Bond bingo for Christmas, then you probably don't know them very well. I'm not saying you don't like them, you probably do like them, but I would suggest what you've probably done is wasted the money that you have, because they're going to receive it, it's going to stay in its plastic wrapper until they know that you're coming to their house again. Then they'll quickly unwrap it as if it's been played, and then when they move out, when they're a bit older, it's very dusty, they'll just put it in the bin. And that is a waste of resources, so I'm told. If you enjoyed this video, because it was a video and it has happened now, then what you've got to do, I think I've been explicit. What you've got to do is like the video, and they even have a bell. Have you seen the bell? Ding-a-ling. And if you ding the bell, then somebody tells you, I think YouTube, tell you that this exists, but you've already watched it. No, stuff that I do in the future exists, which is bound to happen. I'm confident I'll do something in the future. So ding the bell, because that's a good reason, isn't it? And until next time, keep your family close and keep your friends almost as close. Bit of a Godfather thing. Bye! Oi.